contacting any well-wisher who is willing to chip in. You can help them maybe financially. Anyone who is ready maybe to contribute so that they can get even a small piece of land, because they were displaced by their bandits. That is when their dad died. So they came to Marigat. They have a very small house and it's very cold. It doesn't have windows. I think that's why he got the pneumonia. The challenges that the widows face, first of all, they miss that love. Their husband's love, their spouse's love, I can say that. Then another thing, they really strain in providing for their families, because most of the families, you find that their breadwinners are the dads. So when someone is a widow, it's really a challenge to take care of the kids, to take care of their needs. Yeah, it's a challenge.
We are burying people almost every month, sometimes up to twice or three times in a month because of insecurity. I remember a very bad incident of 7 men when we were in Muchongoi, and it was very painful. And that is when I realized that we are not going to wait for anyone else to help us. And I made up my mind that I will be part of the solution in this county of Baringo. It became so painful to the whole society, to the extent that everyone was so resentful. The vengeance was so much. The pain was, very palpative, specifically for children who are left, orphans or orphaned because of the bandits. The women, specifically the widows. Which again brings me to another case where in Baringo today, I have over 700 of them. 700 widows plus, because of bandits or banditry. For me, my joy and hope is that every day is a better day for us. When I see women going back to their houses, to rebuild their homes, as much as we have challenges of course, it's not normal, it's not going to be, a quick fix. When you have been out of your home for like almost 5 years and you're trying to go back, you will definitely have problems settling. And there's the only thing I would probably want to ask the government again, even as they rebuild the schools and they rebuild the centers and those kind of things, I want them to consider building, at least iron sheets, shelters for those victims, because they have also been affected for a while. Considering that also you lost your, livestock, your livelihood, and we are in a very advanced stage, specifically with the minister, to look at how we were going to do this.
Tumeweza kuleta partners kama Interbiz, Cruise Kenya, CIM, World Vision na wengine tunatembea, kuna NCIC, tunataka kutembea nao pamoja kuhakikisha kwamba kuna usalama katika Baringo yetu. Na sisi kama serikali ya Baringo tukiongozwa na gavana tumeweka mikakati mingi na nzuri sana ya kuhakikisha kwamba kuna amani Baringo. Sababu tumeanza tu kama county, we are starting it for the first time this year to celebrate this day. Na tukasema we want to start with the widows of conflict. Widows of conflict from Baringo North, Baringo South, na Tiaty. The women we consider to be the widows of conflict ni wale they lost their husbands as a result of insecurity in Baringo. Tunajua mama wengi waliweza kuteseka, wanaumia kwa mambo ya poverty, kuna mambo ya wanalazimishwa kufanya vitendo ambayo sio nzuri as a result of culture, especially when a woman, when the husband dies. Mwanaume akikufa, mwanamke kuna vile anaonekana kwa njia mbaya kwa hizi community. Wanalazimishwa hata kutenda vitu ambaye haingekuwa vyema, like wife inheritance, wife battering and many other things. Poverty, wengine wananyang'anywa mali yao. Na sisi tukaona tukikuja kusherekea hii siku na tujifunze kama watu wa Baringo kupitia makanisa and hata organizations kama Cruise Kenya kuweza kuelimisha watu kwamba si vyema kunyanyasa wachane. Na pia
widows from Baringo South, Baringo North and Tiaty who have been affected by conflict, and they have become widows because of the banditry and killings that have been ongoing here in Baringo. We are currently working with 120 widows who we have supported, and we believe that this county has more widows. Over thousands of widows in this county have been due to conflict, and with our little resources we have only been able to support 120, and we've been able to support them with psychosocial support, where we have people giving them or experts doing psychosocial support on them and helping them because they've been discriminated over time, they've been victimized and marginalized.
Sasa tunasema mtu angalie kama wajani, sababu hakuna mtu hata kwa Kibokot huko, hakuna mtu anajali wajani huko, mtu anakaa kivyake hivyo, hakuna mtu hata anaangalia kama ni mtu, angaliwa tu kama sio kitu kwa huko area yetu ya Pokot. Na chenye imetokea na hii maneno sana sana ni mambo ya uwaji, sababu huko area yetu huko vita kila siku, mara Kwet na Pokot, mara Turkana huko, mambo ya Tirioko huko, mara Turkana na Pokot. Sasa wamama wengi wamekuwa wajani mpaka hata watoto wadogo wenye wako na hata na miaka 18 kurudi nyuma. Sasa ndio tumekuwa wajani sana mpaka hata tumeumia. Tunaomba serikali watusaidie kama wajani, waangalie sana sana, sababu hakuna mtu mwingine anapoangalia hawa asipokuwa serikali na Mungu tena.
Financial capacity to cope with what is a fast-changing, more shock-prone world. It is much bigger in one place than in others. And this is where we come. Our institutions have a huge responsibility to do what is necessary for the world of today and tomorrow. And that is translating, in my view, for the fund and for the bank, into a priority to change our mindset and understand that our mandates at their core are the same, but how we implement these mandates changes dramatically. For the fund, we have a clear mission. It is macroeconomic financial stability, growth, and employment. But to implement this mission in the world I described with the disbalances we face requires to think much more comprehensively about the resilience of people that are educated, healthy, with good social protection at their feet, the resilience of society, not just of the banking sector, because when society is unfair, unjust, the economy cannot really deliver the best fruits for people. And of course, the resilience of our planet. And when we take that more holistic, more comprehensive mandate, then it takes us to how we work. What are the priorities we set? What are the instruments we deploy? Priorities we set, well, clearly a top priority for both the bank and the fund is to mobilize more concessional and grant financing because of the disbalances we described. Our track record on that, we have the Poverty Reduction and Growth Trust. We almost got the resources we need. Demand is higher, interest rates are higher, so bringing concessionality is more expensive. We are short on subsidies, $1.2 billion. And my appeal at this meeting is close the gap. We are going, Ajay and I are going to Morocco for our annual meetings. First time in half a century, the meetings are on the African continent. We go there, we deliver for Africa, and deliver for Africa means for Ajay to have strong guide, for the IMF to have strong PRGT.
Precisely, President Ruto William, what is your view about your situation and your expectations, demands vis-à-vis this global institution, and how to fix the situation in your country and the continent?
Thank you very much, Macron, and thank you for daring to call us to this meeting. I'm told it was How Dare You conference, but in any case, we are here. Let me just speak to this in two ways. Number one, I have had my sister Kristalina and Bangura, and we have excellent relations with the World Bank and IMF from Kenya. And these people have been incredibly of assistance, and we sincerely appreciate. But I am also aware that both Kristalina and Bangura have a job to do, and they have people they report to, called shareholders. And they don't have the final word. The final word rests with somebody else. And that is why we are almost all of us speaking the same language, because we seem to be on the same corner. There are people who are not sitting here, yet they call the shots. Now, we have a situation, and let me speak from the perspective of Kenya, our continent in Africa, and the global south. We need emergency liquidity. We need debt relief. We need urgently new money, with urgency, with scale. That's our situation. How are we going to get that in the current situation? Listening to Guterres this morning, we get development resources 8 times more expensively than others. We have inadequate resources, and it takes forever to access it. So, how do we how do we make meaning of this summit that my brother Emmanuel has put together? Our position is that if you want to get debt relief, emergency liquidity, and new money together, let us live here having agreed on one thing, that, like Guterres has said, let's look for 500 billion new money. But if we are going to distribute it the way we did SDR, we will end up with nothing. SDR, we ended up with $33 billion in our continent of 1.2 billion people. Europe, with 450 million people, ended up with 5 times what we got. You heard it this morning, not from me, from the UN Secretary General, that we got 13 times less as Africans as compared to Europeans, because the whole architecture, and by the way, it was fair by the architecture, the current architecture of the financial system. But it is grossly unfair when we are looking at fairness. So, what are we saying? Our position, good people, is we do the following. Let us agree that the money we are supposed to pay for the next 10 years as repayment of debt